Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
I pictured it in my head before the play even started.
They strike again! This time Montori Foster!
And once I got in the end zone, I just was filled with emotion. It was something I dreamed of.
You know, we have a great team, and, you know, this is a wonderful opportunity. It's a game that I want, and a game that we're definitely capable of winning.
I'm not going to get caught up in, you know, the return to Columbus and being on the opposing sideline and things like that. That's never part of my thinking. It's going to be a challenge, but I feel like our guys are up for it. I feel like they're built for it.
Moments like the ones this Saturday in Columbus for Michigan State's football team are moments Mel Tucker has been pointing to ever since he was hired on February 12th of 2020. He made it known right away that the Spartans would be competing for championships, and despite its loss to Purdue, MSU knew it still had all of its goals in front of them. All they had to do was beat Maryland at home, and did they ever find a way to bounce back?
Terps beating Terps too often this season. Here's a little flea flicker. They've had great success this season. They strike again. This time Montori Foster. Touchdown from 52.
Michigan State made sure to set the tone early against the Terps by going to its infamous flea flicker, and with Jalen Naylor out of the lineup, sophomore wideout Montori Foster rose to the occasion. Peyton Thorne hit him right in stride for the 52-yard touchdown. It's the fourth time MSU has scored on the flea flicker this year. As for the second influential play of the game, that would come later in the first quarter. Thorne to his main man Jaden Reed for Reed's first touchdown in 5 games, and his 29-yard score gave the Spartans a 13-0 lead. Now, coming in at number 3, third and goal for the Spartans, and Thorne connects with Connor Hayward for the short 2-yard touchdown. And did the Redshirt senior enjoy making his way back into the end zone for the first time this year? Spartans just keep adding to their lead, 20-7. And speaking of first, in the third quarter, the Terrapins were steadily moving the ball down the field, but on 1st and 10, linebacker Noah Harvey halts the drive with an interception. Coming in clutch for the Spartans defense in his first start of this season. As Tom Izzo likes to say, that turnover led to a Spartan touchdown. Harvey's INT gives the Spartans the ball back, and they capitalize on the drive. Third and goal again, and Thorne rifles a bullet to Reed for not only his second touchdown of the night, but it was Thorne's 4th TD of the game to tie his career high. And this was the icing on top of the cake for the Spartans in their bounce back win over Maryland. Fourth quarter, MSU in the red zone yet again, and from 3 yards out, Heisman hopeful Kenneth Walker III bullies his way past the goal line for not only his second rushing touchdown of the game, but his 17th this season to lift the Spartans to the 40-21 win. What's also important to note about this drive is Walker carried the ball 4 times during it for runs of 2 yards, 36 yards, and 5 yards before finishing it off with the 3-yard score. Walker's 143 total rushing yards in the win against the Terrapins has now boosted his single-season rushing total to 1,473 yards. It leads all of the FBS, and it's the most by a Spartan running back since Jeremy Langford rushed for 1,522 yards in 13 games in 2014. You could say the offense certainly came to play, and former running back and now tight end Connor Hayward reaped some of the rewards in the win as well. We're going to sit down with him when we come back.
As we go to break, Farm Bureau Insurance invites you to register to win an exclusive private dinner with head coach Tom Izzo. Go to InsideTheGreensweeps.com to register.
Tap into savings when you use your MSU Federal Credit Union Visa Signature Credit Card. The Visa Signature Credit Card gives you more cash back, like 3% cash back on groceries, 2% cash back on gas, travel, and universities, and 1% cash back on everything else. Simply tap to pay with your MSU FCU Visa Signature. It's fast, easy, and convenient. Tap to pay, get more cash back with the MSU FCU Visa Signature Credit Card. Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Redshirt senior Connor Hayward comes from a football family, and when he decided to take his name out of the transfer portal and stay in East Lansing, it became one of the best decisions he's ever made. Nick Mandis was able to spend some time with the former running back, who now has a new home at the tight end position. And apparently, when you're a little brother who's getting ready to play against your big brother's former team, things can get real fun and in a hurry.
13th play of this drive for the Spartans. Fake this time. Into the flats. Hayward's open. That's a touchdown. With the attention on the Heisman candidate Walker, they get it to Hayward for the score.
Ever since Connor Hayward decided not to transfer away from Michigan State and instead transition from a running back to a tight end, he's made the most out of every opportunity.
Thorne, a pocket, throws up in the air. Hayward catches, breaks away, still fighting, still in bounds, and finally shoved out near the 10.
It's been, a great year so far, and my whole college career it's just been something that I can tell anybody about. And the guys coming after me, sometimes you're going to go through tough things, but when you have great people around you, and for me it was my mom, my brothers, my sister, my grandma, and my friends on the team and my friends back at home, they were in my corner, and they always kept my head high when things weren't always going my way and when I wanted to leave. But I'm just glad everything's worked out, and I'm glad to be a Spartan.
Connor's family couldn't be more understanding of what it's like to go through the ups and downs of college football. Because this is his dad, Ironhead Hayward, and this is his big brother, Cameron Hayward.
Let's go! Let's go!
Having my brother and obviously my dad playing in the NFL and being the people they are, and the human beings they are, and that helped tremendously. My brother being more of a father figure, he's just helped me be a great man and a great person as well, and taught me just be yourself and always do what's best for you. There's always people watching, and your character is an extremely important thing.
Big brother Cameron played his college ball at Ohio State. So with the Spartans heading to Columbus this weekend, this week is an interesting one for the Hayward household.
The relationship you have with your brother and the playfulness I'm sure there is between brothers, me being a little brother as well. Is there any consequences that he has if you guys beat Ohio State? Have you guys talked about that at all?
Oh, he's just going to hear me talk. That's the only consequence. I already don't shut up, but I'll definitely, mess with him. Hopefully, I can have bragging rights this year.
During Connor's off days of being a wrecking ball of muscle, he usually likes to stay active with his friends. But something new to his weekly schedule is watching his shows.
I've recently gotten big in Netflix. It's always been hard for me to sit down and watch stuff, but there's been some shows that I've really gotten to. Like You is pretty good.
It is, yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I had to turn it off for a little bit because it was getting crazy. And I'm big on documentaries. I love documentaries, and I just love learning about whether that's sports or just about the world. I feel like there's just so much to learn and so much that we don't even know about. I don't know. It just makes me get out of my chair and lean a little closer to the
wait,
TV.
What did you just say about that? Yeah, the suspense of it.
That, and then 60 Days In is pretty funny.
So what will be the lasting memories of his time at MSU?
Just every day, grinding with my brothers in the morning, or going to the stadium, or running, or just messing around in the locker room. That's something that I'll always enjoy, and something that I'll always reminisce about and look back on. Obviously, being Michigan, that's what you come here to do, and luckily I've been able to do that a good amount of times. That's something that you want to experience when you're a Michigan State Spartan. You want to beat them in every sport. Every time you're on the field, you want your presence known.
There is no way you can miss the presence of Connor Hayward. He's a special do-it-all asset on offense for the Spartans, and the way MSU has been using its tight ends as of late, you're going to want to be on the lookout for number 11 at the Horseshoe. And hey, speaking of offensive weapons, a new one is starting to emerge at the wide receiver position, and he received more than just a Division I offer to play football. You're going to hear from him when we come back.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
When Michigan State's second leading receiver, Jalen Naylor, went down during the first half of the Michigan game, Montori Foster has decided to take the next man up mentality to heart for the 7th-ranked Spartans. And as Ian Kress found out, the sophomore isn't just a stellar athlete on the football field.
So the first time I started playing football was around probably like age of 5. I was too young to play football at that early age, but I caught a practice and I was on my bike riding around the neighborhood and seeing these kids playing football. And my dad told me this story. I just walked on the field and just started playing with the kids, even without equipment. And they were like, oh, he's too young, why is he out there? But I just led a game of football at the early age, and then I just, gravitated to it.
Football wasn't the main love for Montori Foster. From the 6th grade all the way up until his senior year of high school, Foster didn't play varsity football and put all of his attention into basketball. And all of it was for good reason.
During that time, I kind of sprouted up, had a huge growth spurt, and basketball was just something that I became really good at. And I always played basketball throughout my whole life, and basketball was just I felt like it was a sport for me at the time, really, because I was basically the top guard in the state, all the accolades, even at a young age, and that's when I just started playing basketball.
Was it hard for you then to kind of move on from basketball to football for you?
It wasn't really hard, to move on, because I love football too, and now it's just a part of me. That's something I live. Now,
before your senior year of high school, did you play off the field, outside of games when you were in high school?
It's crazy. This is the story right here. When I was in high school, I played on the intramural team. I played probably 2 years of intramurals, and it was just the love for the game just came back to me during that time, and people would just ask me oh, why are you not playing football again? You need to play football. And I'm I don't know. Those guys are pretty big, And I just fell in love with the game in the intramural football and just felt like I should try it my senior year.
The move from intramural football to the varsity football team at St. Edward High turned Foster into a top 5 wide receiver in Ohio's class of 2020. That led to an offer from Michigan State and eventually to what happened this past Saturday.
Terps beating Terps too often this season. Here's a little flea flicker. They've had great success this season. They strike again. This time Montori Foster. Touchdown from 52.
This past week, you caught your first touchdown as a Spartan. It was on a flea flicker. You guys have been doing so well with that this year. What was that moment like when you kind of broke off the defender and had that opening where, Peyton really dropped a dime for you?
Yeah, it was just a surreal moment. I pictured it in my head before the play even started, the day before. And once I got in the end zone, I just was filled with emotion because I had a long journey to get there, and it was just really emotional for me to score my first touchdown.
So I'm sure you play basketball still to this day. Would you say you're one of the better ones on the team then, or are you the best basketball player on the team?
I'm the best basketball player on the team. I can say that with confidence. I don't think nobody on the team can mess with me. They haven't proven a point yet, so yeah, I'm pretty much the best one.
Even Keon and Malik, who are supposed to be on the team?
Yeah, they are, but I feel like I can beat those guys on any given day.
Foster and Michigan State's offense, I'm sure, will be hoping a few more of those flea flickers will go their way come this Saturday in Columbus. And when we come back, you're going to hear from Coach Mel Tucker himself about what it's going to take to beat the Buckeyes and how he's been motivating his players with a one-word phrase ever since the loss to Purdue.
Welcome back to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
First place in the East Division is on the line when Michigan State and Ohio State kick off at high noon on Saturday at the Horseshoe. And the Spartans were hoping that they would be in this position. Every single person within the program knows the road to Indy has to go through Columbus because the Buckeyes have won the Big Ten crown for the last 4 years in a row. But just how prepared is MSU for this moment? You wanted to see vast improvement from... You can't take me
last week's success. in the last 2 weeks you've given up 500 some yards, blah, 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 blah. You know, this was last week. I'm like, oh, it was that bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Constant reminder. So you wanted to see vast improvement, obviously, when it came to your defense. You were able to do that against Maryland. But now as you look ahead to Ohio State, the challenge is even greater. How do you bring it up a notch in practice, in preparation for what you're about to face in the Buckeyes?
Well, it's going to be a challenge for our defense. Obviously, Ohio State has a great offensive scheme. They're very well coached and they have outstanding players. It's going to be about our preparation. We have to study the film, know the tendencies. We have to know our opponent, inside and out. And our practices have to be stellar. And so there's going to be a lot of pressure on our defense. And it's going to be a challenge, but I feel like our guys are up for it. I feel like they're built for it.
You prepared last week in a way that was a little bit different than usual, and you said that your preparation for the Maryland game was even better than it was for the Michigan game. You have a flag. We saw it at practice when Ian was out there, and it says bingo on it. So I have to ask you about this. What does bingo signify, and why is it important?
Bingo signifies a player coaching up another player on the field or in the meeting room. And that means that we're doing it right, we're getting it right, so bingo. So if I hear a player tell another player, hey, good job, bingo. If I see a player or hear a player coaching another guy up, maybe instructing a player, bingo. If I hear a player confronting another player and demanding that they do things the right way, like finish the play, play harder, play tougher, play lower, that's not good enough, bingo. And that helps us to move more towards a player-led team and not just a coach-led team. And that's leadership. And we needed that in the worst way coming out of the Purdue game. And so we got that last week, and we need to continue down that road.
Are you going to have the flag out then this week in practice?
Absolutely. Absolutely, the flag's going to be out. The flag, I think the flag is always going to be out from now on. I like the flag. When I have the flag, I don't have to say bingo. All I got to do is raise my hand. The assistant coaches didn't have a flag, so they were saying bingo. I didn't have to say. I just threw the flag up.
Was your arm sore?
Oh yeah, both. I had to switch. I was going this one, then I had to go. It was like fly fishing, man. It just kept going because guys, it was contagious, and guys, it was like a snowball. They started to pay attention to what their teammates were doing a lot more. Like guys that were not just reviewing their assignment, but actually seeing what their teammates were doing and looking for opportunities to tell them good job, to encourage them or to coach them up or confront them. And I give those guys credit. No one got offended.
The pressure is going to be really high, obviously, this week. And you know a lot about the environment at the Horseshoe. What do you do in practice then this week to prepare for that type of atmosphere?
Yeah, well, it's attention to detail. Like every little thing matters. So we're going to be on our players. They're going to be on each other. Everything about our behavior, being on time, taking notes in meetings. I mean, we're not going to let anything slide. That creates a sense of urgency and a heightened sense of focus. We're going to have noise in practice. It's going to be loud, but we're going to practice at a very high level. Once we get to the game, it should be really muscle memory. You get it right so many times in practice where you can't get it wrong in the game.
And I want you now to get a little bit more into why we're in your office is because of the piece of artwork that is behind you. This is something that you recently put in here. Why?
Well, my mom's an artist, and so I do appreciate art. I don't have any artistic talent, so to speak. She didn't pass it on to me. No, nothing, nothing at all. But I do appreciate it, and I met a local artist during the summer. I was just really intrigued with some of her work, and so during the bye week, I decided to see if I could get something put in the office, and we felt like this piece really would fit well in the space, and so we got it in here, and it's been a topic of discussion since then.
But there's no green on it.
No, there's no. That's by design.
Why?
Yeah. Why? Well, the colors represent the teams that we play in the Big Ten. You know, and so every color is represented. The theme of it is spoils of war. You know, the Romans, they would go and conquer, you know, other lands, territories, bring back, you know, items, the spoils of war. Some of those things were, you know, artistic in nature, and it became part of their culture. Those colors in this particular piece represent those other 13 schools in the Big Ten.
Okay, so that's the reason why there's no green.
That's where there's no green, and then they're recycled guardrails. So a wall of guardrails also represents our team and how we protect each other and keep each other on track, you know, as we go through the challenges of a season.
And you guys have put yourself obviously in a very good position then this weekend to be able to play for a championship. That's something that you wanted to do when you first got here on February 12th, 2020. You've said it a lot of times, so we've heard it. How much too has your team heard you mention that to them throughout this last year and a half or so?
Well, quite a bit. We don't focus on winning that much. We focus on the process and what it takes to win. You know, the steps that you have to take to put yourself in a position to win. Even prior to this season, we had T-shirts made and we gave them to every player, and the coaches have them as well. And it says destination, and on the back it has the coordinates to Indy. You know, and that was and so, you know, we've worn those T-shirts, and that's, you know, that's been our goal.
Good luck trying to do that this Saturday.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Go Green.
MSU is looking for its first win over Ohio State since 2015. The same year they not only won the Big Ten championship, but earned a berth in the college football playoff. Enjoy your weekend.